Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1, and I'm coming at you with a review of a figure that I honestly thought that I wasn't going to get, but I ended up breaking down and getting it anyway. It is the Sonic the Hedgehog Nendoroid. Now, I just want to put this out there real quick. This is the basic Nendoroid kit. He only comes with a couple accessories, and he's not that big giant one that comes with that massive accessory pack like the alternate arms and legs and the giant the big set with all the power-ups and the gold post markers and all that stuff. Now this is just a little basic one. I found it at Midtown Comics when I went to see the Power Rangers movie, and it was just kind of an impulse buy. So it's made by the Good Smile Company, same people that make all them Figmas, like the Figma Link and the Samuses that I reviewed. And the packaging is very basic, just a little bit of Japanese text and some pictures of Sonic. So nothing really big and intricate here, so let's get them out of the box and review the figure proper. So here's what comes in the packaging. You get a nice little display stand where you can put the included ring, or, oh, I put that on pretty tight. If you don't want him to have the ring floating next to him, you can put the included Chaos Emerald in the stand as well. Looks very much like the Master Emerald that Knuckles came with from the Jazzwares line, except that it's scaled the way that a Chaos Emerald should be. And he also comes with two alternate hands, both left hands, one with the gesturing finger and one open palm. And then he has this very nice articulated stand. There's a whole bunch of peg holes in the bottom, so you can put the stand wherever you want. And then the stand itself has 3 articulated points, one in the middle, one at the bottom, and one at the top. Alright, so let's break down the figure's articulation and gimmickry first, then get into stuff. Alright, so the Sonic Nendoroid actually comes with this face that's looking off to the left. Not entirely sure that I like that. I would like him to be facing forward. This would be okay if he came with alternate face sculpts, like the big set does, but this is just the basic set which only has one face, so you know, they should have included a forward-facing eye set for this set, and you know, other than that, this is supposed to be like a chibified, distorted version of modern Sonic, as all Nendoroids are, except that when you chibify modern Sonic, you just kind of make him look like classic Sonic, but with green eyes. Because of that, a lot of people said that this is actually one of the best action figures of classic Sonic ever made. Now, he actually has some articulation, a really good head. It can bend down really far, and it can also go up, you know, because of the Figma joint that he has for a neck. And of course, it can bend because a Figma joint is basically a really good pin disc. This is the weakness. He only has swivel cut arms, so they only go forwards and backwards. But he has a Figma joint in the wrist, so his hands can gesture quite a bit there. This is probably more useful for the hands that aren't fists, but you know, that's just how it works. He has universally jointed hips because he has, you know, Figma legs. Although these are like modified Figma legs because they are the peg inside is like a Figma joint, but then it's just leg underneath. And then he has ball jointed ankles. So since they're very limited ball joints, so it's not like you can get extreme wide-legged stances, because this is a Nendoroid. Nendoroids aren't made for super posability. They're just made to be cute little chibi representations of your characters, and any epic poses are supposed to be accomplished through swapping parts. And as this is only the basic set, he doesn't have swapping parts, so you really don't have the you don't have the arms crossed over the chest or the running legs. You just have this. Although, you know, he can look pretty cute and sassy all on his own. Now, some people might have seen in the backgrounds of other videos that I made this Sonic figure, which they thought, hey, haven't you had the Nendoroid all this time then? Well, I said it before, but the one that I had before is actually a Nendoroid knockoff. It's a bootleg. It was sent to me by Andrew Strappers in a whole big box of spare figures and parts that I could use to make customs. And although it is a pretty good quality knockoff in many respects, it did have some weaknesses. First of all, is that its ball-jointed ankles are really loose and floppy, so it's difficult to make him stand because he always wants to fall due to his center of gravity. This guy's ankle ball joints are nice and tight so he doesn't fall over. He also came with the open gesturing hands on both hands, and to be fair, he did come with some alternate hands, but he didn't come with two fists like this one has. Although, I suppose I could always swap out the hands because there's nothing wrong with these inherently. Although, if you look really close, you can tell. I'm not sure if the lighting's good enough to tell, but this is made out of a glossier plastic, while this one has a strong matte finish. So, the glossier look, it's a duller white paint with a glossier look, and this is a very bright paint with a matte look. I think I like this better because it actually looks more like a glove, which is kind of cool because when your figure lacks articulation, the paint job is pretty much all you got left. Also, this one suffered some plastic qualities. You can see there's bad seams on his head, and you can probably tell, but if you look real close, I sculpted that tail because the tail was broken off when I got it. Let's see. Yeah, you can tell because it's a lot bigger than the tail that Sonic actually has, and it's curled more upwards. Also, the nose is a transplant. It's the nose off of one of the 5-inch Jazzwares Sonic figures because, you know, it had fallen off. So, if you look, the face swapping gimmick is still intact even on the knockoff. So let's take off their respective faces. And you can see another difference between the official one and the knockoff. The official one was printed with white plastic, well, sculpted with white plastic, molded with white plastic, and then painted blue, while the other one was just molded in blue plastic. It seems kind of weird that they would do that, but they probably wanted to make sure, they probably painted all of his parts to make sure that they would have a uniform finish. And I do have one of the alternate faces from the bootleg, never got around to giving it a new nose, but you can see that he has an open grin smile as opposed to a simple linear smile. And yes, you can see the quality of the printing. You can see on the knockoff, the mouth is scratching off, while it's much more stable on the official one. But these knockoff faces should still fit. Yeah. So I would have an alternate face if I could just give this guy a new nose. But, you know. Maybe I'll just paint the knockoff's eyes completely black, so I'll have a classic Sonic face to put on my Nendoroid. That should have been an option. Forget alternate facial expressions, just have an alternate one that doesn't have colored irises. Ha. So that's the comparison of my real Nendoroid with this old knockoff that I had for a while. So let's take a look at those swapping hands. The hands have the Figma joint built inside of them. So it's a very simple swap. You just pull the hand off, and then the joint stays inside the hand, stays in the wrist, so you gotta pull that out. It's just a very basic flesh-colored Figma joint, and the new hand slides right into place. Nice and silky smooth. And then you have Sonic. Now this is where I would love for there to be outward range on the shoulder, but you can still pull it off. So like, yeah, like, remember in the first Sonic game, he comes out from the thing and then he has the waggling hand. So there you go, the waggling hand look. And then of course you have the open hand, which again, you plug it right in, and then Sonic has an open hand. So I'm guessing that you have the open hand for the purpose of resting the Chaos Emerald in there. Yep, that's fulfilling. So you can actually have him holding the emerald in his hand, so that he doesn't have a hand that's suited for holding the ring. I guess it would have had to make it out of a more flexible material, so you could just kind of squeeze the ring in there. But now you can have your Nendoroid Sonic holding a Chaos Emerald whilst the ring floats next to him. So you have that display option as well. Alright, so all that really leaves is the included stand. He has a peg hole in the middle of his back, which you just squeeze that on right there. And now you have a dynamic, you can have something for dynamic poses. This is where it would have been really helpful to have some alternate hands and arms and leg sculpts, but if you want to get those, you just buy the more expensive kit that has all those pieces. This is just the basic one. Yeah, so at least with his really good neck joint, you can compensate the lack of joints in his arms and legs, and actually get some pretty unique display options with him up in the air like that. I think it still works. It's a cool looking little stand, and the translucent plastic is almost completely invisible on camera. It almost just looks like he's floating there until I move it in a way that it catches the light. So that's basically the review of the Sonic Nendoroid. It's a very basic little figure, but it's still nice if you're a fan. So all that's really left to do is compare him to a couple other figures that I have. So the most obvious thing to compare him to is Jazzwares' 4-inch classic Sonic figure. And of course you can see the differences in proportion between classic Sonic and a stylized modern Sonic, and that although they're pretty close to the same height, true classic Sonic has a perfectly spherical body and a much rounder head with a slightly more upturned nose. Now, I've always praised Jazzwares' classic Sonic figure for actually being really accurate to the character design, and I'm not going to fault it. Although, like, the more intense brilliant blues and those glossy cherry red shoes do look better. This one's definitely painted much nicer. But of course, this is a $35 collector's grade figure, and this, if you got it as a single, probably cost you less than 15 bucks. Assuming you bought it back when it was first released and not now, when the aftermarket prices have probably inflated it to a couple $100s. Although, you know, like, the Jazzwares version definitely has superior articulation. You know, he has like universal elbow and knee joints, universal hips, and a waist swivel. He only has a swivel cut neck, but and swivel cut ankles. But I can easily see how this level of articulation can easily be applied to a figure this size. If this figure's articulation was put on this figure, this would have been a perfect figure. In fact, it probably would have come out to look like our next comparison. And of course, the last figure I compare it to has to be Bandai's SH Figuart Mario. Because who better to compare it to than another character that toy companies shied away from giving articulation for a long time because they thought that the character design was just too stubby and chunky to put joints in. In fact, I also could have put the World of Nintendo Mario figure and it still would have had better articulation, at least in the shoulders. So yeah, this little Figuart Mario. I know this is Max Factory, the maker of Figma, and this is Bandai, the maker of Figuart. But they are very similar companies in that they make import figures that are highly detailed and super articulated versions of characters that we love from all kinds of pop culture. In this case, video games, but they also make anime and heck, I even saw they released a Dwayne Johnson The Rock figure as an SH Figuart for the wrestling section that you can get in Toys R Us. So they're selling an SH Figuart of The Rock right next to Mattel's wrestling figures. So, you know, that's a thing. And of course, like that thing that they do with his pants, that's what makes this figure better than the World of Nintendo figure. So yeah, like seeing a super articulated Mario right next to a limited articulation Sonic just really makes me wish that maybe Bandai had taken up both of these guys, because they probably would have made this guy with this guy's articulation level. But, you know, for what it is, it's a Nendoroid. If you like Nendoroids, then you're going to like this. And if you like Sonic, you're also going to like it. It's a really nice looking toy. It's very cute. It has, and And I got the basic version, but they do make another version that comes with a whole bunch of extra bits and bobs and stuff. So it's really just a great toy overall. I think that it's pretty nice, and if you happen to find one that's not too expensive, go ahead and take the plunge. You probably won't be disappointed. This is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.